So I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about the new Far Cry game that's coming out. It looks pretty good. The game's supposed to be set in the US state of Montana, and it's supposed to be set around some kind of civil war between radical Christians and, I assume, rebels or free Americans. I don't really know. And honestly, I don't really care. The game looks pretty good, the gameplay seems fluid, the graphics look nice, and the story sounds in-depth and fun. But for some reason, people are legit triggered over this video game for political reasons. Apparently, Far Cry 5 is an insult to US gamers. God, that's so fucking cringe to say. Because the villains in the game are white radical Christians. According to a petition posted by Gamers United. And don't get them mistaken, just because they have the word gamer in their name doesn't mean they're actually gamers. In fact, I went to go check out their website, and it appears to be abandoned. So I don't think this Gamers United group is fairly active. But regardless, we're gonna go check out their petition page that they made and see if their reasons to cancel Far Cry 5 are actually legitimate.
We came from nothing to something, nigga. I don't try nobody, grip the trigger.
Enough is enough, Ubisoft. We've sat through your multicultural lectures and your preachy games aimed at degenerates and misogyneers. We've tolerated it all in the name of gameplay design and innovation, but no more. So apparently I'm reading the script to Braveheart. At least that's what these people think. Multicultural lectures? What lectures? Apparently Ubisoft is now offering lectures and preachy games, guys. You can go get them on Uplay. Us gamers have had to endure a lot of crap over the last few years. The targeted harassment by the mainstream press through Gamergate, the terrible launch and outright lies of highly anticipated video games, the outright censorship of art through localization policies. Excuse me if I'm not mistaken, but is that not exactly what you're trying to do to Far Cry 5 right now? You want Far Cry 5 to be cancelled because you think the game is too offensive to Americans. I love how these people are crying censorship when they themselves are censoring. The continued rejection of romantic partners when they find out our hobby, and the appropriation of our culture by so-called gamers on Twitter. No more. Fucking cringe. That entire paragraph was fucking cringe. The continued rejection of our romantic partners when they find out of our hobby. Shut the fuck. I don't think anyone who actually plays video games talks like that or has ever had that kind of problem. You know, the more I keep reading this, the more I'm getting the feeling that these people don't actually play video games and are just using the tag gamer to push their political bullshit. But oh well, what do I know? It's time to draw a line in the sand. We, the American gamers that make up the majority of your user base, demand that you cancel this game or alter it to be less offensive to your player base. In these times, you must understand that there might be some violent repercussions if you intend to follow through with your pointless criticism. These people actually want to threaten violence on fucking Ubisoft. Look, don't get me wrong, I don't really like Ubisoft all that much. I think their company makes cringy-ass game trailers, half-assed games, and is generally a model of how not to run a gaming company. But to get this mad at Ubisoft because they're making a game that the bad guys in the game are white Christians, it's just retarded. And I love how they say they represent American gamers. Like, no you fucking don't. I'm an American myself and I don't agree with anything they're saying right now. Also, I'm pretty sure that 2.2 thousand people doesn't represent the total amount of American gamers there are. So I don't think you're representing anyone. So here are the following suggestions to make your game right. Change the villains. It's not so hard. Really. Just change the villains to be something more realistic. Islam is on the rise on America, as is the violence of inner city gangs. Are you scared to do so? In the word of Boltar, to learn who rules, you simply find out who's not being criticized. Right. Bullshit. First off, who said that Far Cry is supposed to be a realistic game? It's not realistic. It's a made-up world and a made-up scenario for a video game. And what do you mean that Islam and inner-city gangs aren't being criticized? If I remember correctly, in the US presidential debates, two of the most important topics was inner-city crime, like in Chicago, and Islamic terrorism. So I don't think you're right in saying that Islam and inner-city gangs aren't being criticized. And I also love how they try to intimidate Ubisoft by saying, "Are you scared?" Like, give me a fucking break. Alter the villains. Even if you insist on making the villains American Christians, consider mixing the races up a bit to not target white people exclusively. There are plenty of nationalists of every stripe and every race and every creed, so throw in some blacks and Mexicans. There's no reason a protectionist nationalist movement would be all one race. Why stop being politically correct here? Look, from what I've seen from the trailers, there are black people in the radical Christian group. And also, why does it matter what race the villains are in a game? What makes villains villains is not their race. It's what they believe in, or what they do. In this case, the villains believe in a radical form of Christianity that's oppressive and violent. They're like radical ideologues like fascists and communists. Also, for the sake of them being white, the game is placed in Montana, which probably has a lot of white residents versus Mexican and black residents. So I think it would be realistic if the majority of people were white in the game. This guy's all about realism. Or are you scared to do so? Change the setting, but only for certain markets. Look, I get that anti-Americanism plays in France, and I'm not telling you to give up on potential profits due to complaints. You wouldn't want to be one of those hypocrite feminists, right? But for America right now, anti-Americanism is out. You gotta play your market. Change the setting to Canada for America. This way, you don't turn away potential players due to offensiveness. Just trying to help you make money. I love that last line. Just trying to help you make more money. Acting like they're on your side, or they're your friend. No, you're not. You're trying to push Ubisoft around because you don't like that the villains in the game are white Christian Americans, which is very odd because I myself am white Christian and American, and I don't really have a problem with this game or the fact that the villains are white Christian Americans. It's kind of irrelevant to me. You know, one of the things I like the most about Americans is that they can take a joke and be satirical about America. You know, like all the America shit. But I guess for this person, America can't take a joke if it's aimed at America. And you know, the more I read through this page, the more I'm starting to believe that they don't really care about the villains being white Christians. They just kind of want to grab control of this game. You know, this is the same kind of behavior you get with like radical feminists and SJWs. I think it just goes to show that SJWs come in all different types of shapes and sizes.